Catherine Garcia, Amtrak Board Chair Tony Kosha, New Jersey Transit President and CEO Kevin Corbett, FRA Deputy Administrator Jennifer Mitchell, and U.S. DOT Deputy Secretary Polly Trottenberg. Please welcome to the stage Chris Calori, Chief Executive Officer of the Gateway Development Commission.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Governor, I know you know this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have given Diane Scacchetti 2 jobs. Diane has been on the receiving end of my neurotic calls, along with Catherine Garcia, the Governor Hochul's Director of Operations, for well over 18 months. The 2 remarkable public servants there, along with Tony Kosha, have single-handedly made sure that they work with us to get this project to where we were. Having said that, this project would not have been built or can be built without the help of our labor friends. I want to in particular recognize our laborers, our operating engineers, and the building trades as a whole. 38 years ago, when I was 15 years old, my parents and I moved to the United States from India. We lived in the Bronx. My dad, like thousands of people, used the subway system and the 2 tunnels you see right behind us to look for jobs throughout the region. Those of us who spend time doing this know that these tunnels are more than portals of concrete and rebar. They're portals of opportunity. No one knows that foundational principle better than our very first speaker, the Honorable Phil Murphy, the Governor of the state of New Jersey.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Chris, for that very gracious introduction. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is an incredible honor for me to be here today with Chris and his colleagues at the Gateway Development Commission. A very good friend, and I want to acknowledge her coming in from Washington, Deputy Secretary of Transportation, Polly Trottenberg. Federal Railroad Administration Deputy Administrator Jennifer Mitchell is with us, Amtrak Board Chairman Tony Kosha, President and CEO of NJ Transit Kevin Corbett, and our partner from across the river, and I want to thank her for coming over on this side, New York State Operations Director Catherine Garcia. Diane Scacchetti was given a shout out. I don't know where she went, but oh, she's right in front of me. Not only is her capacity as Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, but as Chris said, she's picked up another a job here, so I as my Chief of Staff. I also want to give a shout out to elected officials, one and all. We got mayors, Albio Ciras, Nick Sacco's hosting us today, Richie Turner, County Executive to be Craig Guy, Congressman Rob Menendez, and to all the other elected officials. Great to have you, Gateway Development Corp commissioners, Kevin O'Toole and team from the Port Authority, Amtrak represented by Tony and others, Kevin and NJ Transit, and Greg and many others here from representing our brothers and sisters in organized labor. So today we are gathered, and I like to think of this as the starting line for the most important infrastructure project in America, period. And in a few short minutes, for the very first time, the Garden State will officially break ground on the Gateway project. This is a moment that has been more than a decade in the making. For years, this project has existed on paper or on computer screens as a proposal, or maybe better yet, as an aspiration. But today we're taking a major step in transforming this vision for our region's future into a reality. And like all great things, it is a future that will begin in Jersey, right here on Tunnelly Avenue. In the years to come, this new roadway bridge will stand as a symbol for the world-class transportation system that we are all building together. A transportation system that is not only the backbone for the world's greatest economy, but one that delivers a better quality of life to all of our state's families. Once completed, this bridge will improve traffic safety in our surrounding communities to help protect the lives of our children. It will help ease traffic congestion during rush hour so our commuters can spend less time bumper to bumper and more time with their families and loved ones. And crucially, this bridge will also unlock new economic opportunities for communities right here in Hudson County. So as we officially get started on the Gateway program, make no mistake about it, we're going to bring new improvements and opportunities to New Jersey with every milestone we reach. Because with every step we take, we're moving closer to achieving our larger goal, building safer, healthier, and happier communities. And while I won't belabor the point, let me quickly note that this is a drastic shift as compared with previous administrations, both in Jersey and in Washington. We used to hear one broken promise after another. Remember how every week was supposed to be infrastructure week, or how we'd be tired from all the winning. But look at where the years of noise and nonsense got us. Exactly nowhere. And our families and our workers paid the highest price of all. So today is yet another example of how we are turning things around for New Jersey and our entire country. In partnership with Governor Hochul and President Biden, we are correcting the mistakes of the past to build a brighter, more prosperous future for every family. From Tunnelly Avenue all the way down to Pennsylvania Avenue, our leaders are fully aligned and fully committed to completing the Gateway project once and for all. And in the process, we're going to create more than 70,000 overwhelmingly union jobs in our region, generate nearly $20 billion in economic activity, and ultimately breathe new life into the major arteries of America's economy. So to everyone who made today possible, let me say simply thank you. To all of the officials in the Biden administration and in the Department of Transportation, obviously Polly representing them very well today, but also shout out in absentia to Secretary Pete Buttigieg. I also want to give my friend in infrastructure czar Mitch Landrieu a shout out. Thank you for recognizing, all of you, the urgency of the Tunnel Ave project and investing real dollars into getting it started. And again, to our friends at Amtrak, NJ Transit, Gateway, the Port, so many others on both sides of the Hudson, thank you for your partnership and commitment to our region's future. And of course, one more time, to our friends in labor, all of the union workers who will be pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into Gateway for years to come, thank you most of all. This is a great day for New Jersey, for our region, for all of America, and it is an honor to celebrate this milestone with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New York State Director of Operations, Catherine Garcia.
Governor, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be on the other side of the river, and we are going to be making it so much easier to get back and forth. I think everyone knows that under Governor Hochul's leadership and in partnership literally with everyone here and in Washington, we have made incredible progress to finally bring the decades-old Gateway vision to reality. And it is an incredibly challenging and complicated partnership, but I think that might have to do with the fact that what we know every day is that New Jersey and New York, and I would actually even include Connecticut, make this region thrive. Regardless of where you live, we move back and forth across our rivers without ever knowing about it, I would say. So I have so many people to thank, obviously, Governor Murphy, Senator Schumer, Senator Booker, Polly Trottenberg, my good friend, the Secretary, Chris Calori, for your patience when perhaps we may are a little bit demanding, Kevin Corbett, Diane, I don't know what I would do without you, from restaurants across the world. That's where we do a lot of our negotiating. Tony Kosha, who's chairman of Amtrak, Jennifer Mitchell at FRA. And I'm going to do a little bit of a shout out to the people who are actually really getting some of this done on the New York State side. That's like Manelli DeCou and Dave Ullman, really making sure that we stay in place. But obviously, Laura and Richard Sun, who have done so much work on the sub-principals level. But I also want to give a huge shout out to labor. This would not happen if we did not have skilled trades, because this is incredibly complicated. You know, they used to say when people built tunnels that you would lose a man per mile. That doesn't happen today because of the skilled men and women of labor and the fact that we are going to create an enormous number of middle-class jobs, 70,000 middle-class jobs. Without you, it would not be possible. People have believed in rail and in reliable rail, that they would have tremendous benefits for the region, and we've seen that. And they've been right. Today it's not only that this is the most used rail line in the country, it is a corridor that is vital for our economy and instrumental to our nation's success. And I'm going to pick up on something that Chris spoke about in terms of economic opportunity. There are two things that provide people with real economic opportunity in this region. One is public higher education, and the second is our transportation, because it makes it so that we have access to jobs regardless of which state you live in, and that we are preparing people for those jobs. But it's truly been 100 years since we have made significant investments in this tunnel. A century of daily use, a century of, I'm sure Kevin gets, it's 5 minutes late, and a century of storms the likes of which we have never seen, like Hurricane Sandy. And we are called on to make an historic 100-year investment. Thank you, Polly. From the start, President Biden understood the importance of the Hudson Tunnel project. I don't think we get this done with a different president. I don't even care if it's a different Democratic president. I don't think we get this done with a different president. We have been proud to host the president and the governor. When back in January we announced the mega grant for the Hudson Yards concrete casing, and to host the secretary and Mitch Landrieu and Diane earlier this month to kick off construction on our side of the river. But we know that we would not be getting this done without the tremendous multi-billion, $12 billion support from the federal government, not just because it's reducing the state's share, and it is the most urgent infrastructure project in the nation, but it really does matter that we are all in it together to make sure that we are all putting funding forward, because otherwise we can't get it done. It's too big, it's too hard, it's too complicated. But we know it's not just about building the shiny thing. We know we need to meet the needs of the next century. Commuters deserve to have plenty of space to get on and off trains safely and efficiently. And government has the responsibility to meet those needs creatively and in the most cost-effective way. All of those, so we have happy customers, able to get to a job, able to get to a Broadway play. It really is a lifeline for the economy of the Northeast and the entire corridor. But it will also create a cleaner environment and a more efficient commute. And most important, and this is something I know that people think about, it gives people back time. The shorter your commute, that is time you are spending with your family. That is time when you get to check homework. That is time that you have to be deepening your relationships. We want to make sure that we are giving people back time by making it so that their commute is as efficient as possible. We have demonstrated that we can work together, and we reaffirm the visionaries who've come before us, the builders, the dreamers, who said this couldn't be done. And there are some of us who date back to the ARC project, where we literally ran into wall after wall. But this time, we are getting it done, and I want to thank everyone here because it has taken all of us to get it done, and we're going to keep pushing forward. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Amtrak Board Chair Tony Kosha.
Hello, everyone, and it's great to be here. You know, as the chairman of Amtrak, we serve 46 states around this great nation, and I get to travel to a lot of them and visit a lot of people. But being here right now at this moment, this is home. This is where, absolutely. I am an unabashed Jersey guy for sure. I grew up here, I raised my family here, and I understand it. And on top of that, I'm the product of a family that basically, you know, the income came from the building trades. My father was a very proud construction union member for almost 40 years. It's what paid for me to go to college and go to law school. So just as I'm at home being here in New Jersey, I'm very much at home being at a construction site with the people, frankly, who have built the great things we all rely on, and a gratitude has been expressed. But I would say let's give another round of applause to the people who have built this country and continue to build it today. Thank you very much. But apart from me happening to be a New Jersey resident, New Jersey is actually very critically important to Amtrak for so many ways. Not just the 80 trains a day of Amtrak that run through New Jersey, but all the investments that we're making. And in fact, within the last year, we've added additional service stops in places like New Brunswick and Princeton to meet rising demand that we've seen in Central Jersey. Yes, that is a term, Central Jersey. We completed a $450 million investment in the core part of the Northeast Corridor that runs through the central part of the state, where trains can now actually achieve speeds of up to 150 miles an hour. And Gateway is very much about New Jersey, as New Jersey itself is very much the gateway to the biggest markets that Amtrak serves. Millions of passengers on our trains, on New Jersey Transit, run through it. New Jersey is a critical part of the nation's infrastructure and a critical part of what Amtrak does. And I have to say that there has been no more of an exciting time to be at Amtrak or to be in passenger rail. Earlier this morning, Amtrak announced its results for fiscal year 23. The announcement just came out this morning, and we are up to 28.6 million riders a year. It represents a nearly 25% increase off of last year. In addition to that, we are 15 to 20% on the Northeast Corridor, ahead of where we were pre-pandemic. There is no question that there is a hunger and a demand for strong, efficient, safe, reliable passenger rail service, and we are now living up to that commitment by delivering that. And clearly, investments that are being made right now in Amtrak are at historic levels. In fiscal 23, we announced this morning that we invested over $3 billion in the nation's rail infrastructure. Massive investments by any standard. Now, getting to Gateway, you've heard a lot about Gateway. We've heard a lot about the 450 trains a day, the 200,000 passengers, and I think that this was mentioned by Catherine and others, and I think it bears worth repeating. But, you know, with every foot of wire, with every cubic foot of concrete that's poured, with every inch of wire, with every pound of stone, with every one of those things that we're doing, and today marks a very important beginning of that process, we're getting closer to giving people the kind of safe, reliable transportation that gives them the mobility that allows them to travel to work and to get home and to do the things that are fundamental to it. Mobility is part of life. It's what adds to the quality of a person's life. It's what provides for that economic empowerment. So with the shovels that we put in the ground today, we begin that process of moving toward that. You've heard a lot this morning about thanking people, and you know, we could spend hours talking about all those who have played a big role in us getting to where we are today. Let me begin with thanking the governor. I've seen firsthand his willingness to stand up for this project. And not just when it was easy to do, but when it was very difficult to do. In fact, at a time when most people thought this project was pretty dead, Phil Murphy didn't think that at all. In fact, put his neck out politically and every other way to try to keep this project alive. And frankly, we are where we are today because he took that risk and he was willing to do it. So, Governor, thank you very much for all of that support. Jennifer Mitchell's here from the FRA, and FRA Administrator Amit Bose have been unbelievable partners in bringing us to this point and working hand in hand, showing that government and the private sector users of it and the different agencies and different jurisdictions can work together as a team. And there is no question that that kind of leadership is what brought us here. And, you know, they work at an amazing team at USDOT, who I think will go down historically as one of the epic teams that have put together investments in transportation for the future that are like no other. Certainly Secretary Buttigieg has been there for all of this, and Polly Trottenberg, who, like me, shares sort of a warm place in her heart for this part of the country and this part of the world, has been available to us and an active and an important partner in all of this for a very long period of time. In addition to that, and you know, you heard from Catherine Garcia. Well, Catherine Garcia and Diane Scicchetti are just sort of a unbelievable force in bringing things together and getting things accomplished. There is no question we would not be here today. There's no question we wouldn't still be arguing about the size of the table if it wasn't for these two exemplary leaders that have brought us to this point. And I'm very grateful to have a partnership with them and to have their leadership to look to many different ways. I'd like to thank all the people at Amtrak who work on this and work on it very diligently, both in a visible way and behind the scenes. Certainly our CEO, Stephen Gardner, bears mentioning, as well as Laura Mason, a person who's taken on a responsibility for building an entire nation of new infrastructure investments, and Laura has done just an amazing job at that. She is truly, I think, one of the true leaders for the future in investment and the kind of advancement that we're looking at. And let me just take one more minute then to thank those on the federal level who have really been there for us. And there are two people who, you know, frankly, bear a great deal of responsibility for moving this project forward, and that is, of course, President Biden and Senator Schumer. They have both been stalwart supporters of everything we're trying to do here. And just to take a moment to talk a bit about the President and the Infrastructure Initiative, the truth is that, you know, there have been a lot of chatter and talk about all the things that we need to do. We've all kind of commiserated over the fact that infrastructure is failing in so many places. This President has actually done something material about it. There will be generations that will benefit from the investments that are being made as part of the infrastructure package, and we all owe the President a great deal of gratitude for having done that, and I'm very proud to serve in Amtrak's role for being part of this initiative. So let me just finish by saying that this is actually a real turning point for what we've tried to accomplish here. For years there's been discussions about Gateway and how to actually complete this, and now the conversation is really about when will we get it done and how will we actually move to the next step. So the point of when will we actually initiate this project is now in the rearview mirror. We have now begun the project on both sides of the river, and I look forward to being with all of you for its successful completion. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO of New Jersey Transit, Kevin Corbett.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And you cannot have a more exciting morning. Certainly, this in some ways feels more like a bar mitzvah. With some of us have been working on these projects for 40 years with all the different friends we have here. They're giving shout outs, but certainly none more so, Tony, to pick up on Governor Murphy. What the governor has done from the earliest days when New Jersey Transit was a literal train wreck, and he took incredible incoming heat and gave us a cover as well as resources to turn around New Jersey Transit. And even at that time, he said, what can we do to get Gateway going? And obviously, I'll talk about Portal Bridge in a second, but the governor cannot thank you enough. Certainly, Diane, aside, wears many hats and is my board chair as well as the DOT commissioner. I say of all her children in the transportation world, I think New Jersey Transit is the one that probably gives her, we're the trouble child that gives her most headaches. But Diane has been a great partner and a great friend and supporter, and certainly excited to have her in the role now as Chief of Staff. Polly, as I said, since we've been working on this since we've been kids. I mean, it's just so appropriate that you're here today. So it's really great. Thanks so much. Certainly, Jennifer Mitchell from FRA. Jen and I work on constantly in touch. So again, this is like a family gathering, and the work that you do and meet. Certainly miss him here today. On behalf of President Biden is tremendous, and it's a pleasure to work on you. Particularly the passage of the IIJA and all the Fed state. And certainly also have to give a shout out. I know Nuria Fernandez, FTA administrator, couldn't have been here, but another great partner, and certainly extremely well represented by Mike Collada, the acting regional administrator for Region 2, and the teamwork we have. The MTA has, I believe, the largest capital program within the FTA. New Jersey Transit has the second. And as a region, what that means, the kind of jobs and the money that pours into the economy here, Mike cannot thank you and your team enough for helping us get there. As always, my partner in crime, Chris Calori. You got to have fun when you're doing these crazy jobs, and it's great to have Chris as a partner too. Catherine, this may remind you of some of your days over at DOS, this site here maybe, but a throwback. But thanks for making a trip over to this side of the river. And Tony, as I always said, when after I got into Georgetown, they raised the standards, and that's when Tony came in. So I never would have made it by the time they let Tony in. But again, we've been working with Tony for decades, and it really is appropriate that we're all here today. Certainly thank also the congressional delegation, Rob and the rest. Albio, thanks so much. I'll keep my comments brief on the today, but we just, as Catherine mentioned, we had the $3.8 billion kickoff on the other side of the river earlier this month for the announcement on the tunnel from the other side. And also today here would also like to give a recognition for the importance of what may seem relatively small, but the $25 million RAISE grant that was awarded last summer by USDOT that is critical for actually getting Tunnelly Avenue going. All these awards enable us to really get this project moving. And we've talked about the region or which sides of the river and the importance of national economy. I just looked when I lived in China, you had Pudong off on the other side of Shanghai. You had Pudong, it wasn't Pudong versus Puxi. If we're looking to compete, we're competing on a global level nationally. And there is, this region is a center of global capitalism, of world commerce. And so there's no exaggeration to say this is not just vital for the region, this is vital for this project going ahead. It's a key part of keeping us competitive on the world stage. I would say beyond the Hudson Tunnel, the whole $16 billion announcement of the Fed state. I think many of you may know I also serve as the, aside from president of NJ Transit, I also co-chair the Northeast Corridor Commission, along with a good friend, Amit Bose. And 2 years ago, the commission, working with the state governments along the Northeast and the federal government, 8 commuter rail agencies, and Amtrak, released our Connect NEC 2035 plan, or C35 as it's known. It's a $117 billion, 15-year plan covering 150 projects along the entire corridor, the most ambitious reinvestment program in the NEC's history, and indeed the nation's history. And just 2 weeks ago, we announced, rolled out the C37, which is an update of the C35, really starts putting teeth into that, where we defined a 15-year plan, much greater detail. The plan facilitates and looks to accelerate the prioritization of the projects now being awarded along the entire corridor between Boston and Washington. And I think that was a key part of being able to get these projects out sooner by doing that, by having the Corridor Commission tee things up so that we could get these projects funded quicker and get them out the door faster. So really appreciate all the work of the Commission and what that means. So I am truly humbled, really, to be able to play a role in the federal government's historic investment in this region's infrastructure. Before closing, I'd be shameless and remiss to not give a brief update on one of the key projects, though, in the Gateway program, and that, of course, is the Portal North Bridge, just beyond over there. And it's the largest active project in NJ Transit's capital plan, and the largest in our history. And it's certainly visible to anybody who goes between Newark and New York. And many of the fellow commuters and train crew members are remarking on how quickly the construction is proceeding. It's amazing to see that rising out of the ground. And we just recently passed the 30% completion milestone. Remember, it was just a bit more than a year ago that we had the groundbreaking for that. And I think it's important because it shows that we are proving that the project will be completed, and we expect to be running trains, the first track opening in 2026, a little more than 2 years from now. And to me, that's really important to show the country. People say we can't do mega projects and can't get them done on time, on budget in this region. That's BS. We are doing that at Portal, and we want to show the rest of the world, Congress and the President, you give us the money, and with labor, we will get the projects done. So I think that's a good lead-in for the great work that I know is going to be coming here. So with that, that concludes my remarks, and thanks again for allowing me to be part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome FRA Deputy Administrator Jennifer Mitchell.
Thank you so much. Much has been said just over the last few minutes about the partnership here, and it really is a very unique and strong partnership. And Governor Murphy, thank you again for your leadership. It's great to be here with our partners from New Jersey, New York, NJ Transit, Amtrak, and GEC to celebrate this groundbreaking for this very important project. The Gateway program and its benefits for the Northeast Corridor is a major priority for the Federal Railroad Administration. We are proud to support the rapid progress that you are all making. After decades of waiting for federal and state funding, it is so encouraging to see this historic effort finally underway. Thanks to President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law, nearly 160 rail projects nationwide are also moving forward with billions of dollars in new rail funding. In June, the U.S. Department of Transportation provided a $25 million raise grant to the Tunnelly Avenue project, helping set the stage for today's construction. This project and the entire Gateway program were also major winners of the single largest funding announcement in FRA history. Earlier this month, we announced over $16 billion for 7 states on the Northeast Corridor through the Federal-State Partnership Program. Out of this unprecedented amount of funding, over 1/4, or $4.2 billion, went to Gateway program projects alone. This includes nearly $3.8 billion for the Hudson Tunnel project, which will revitalize the rail infrastructure vital to the New York, New Jersey region, as well as the entire country. The Tunnelly Avenue project that we're here to celebrate today is a critical early step in this momentous effort, and its completion will help keep construction of the new Hudson River Tunnel on time and on budget, and create hundreds of good-paying union construction jobs, and eliminate the many lengthy and costly delays for tens of thousands of daily NJ Transit and Amtrak riders on this crucial route. As the biggest choke point along the Northeast Corridor, the project is essential to maintaining reliable and efficient passenger rail across the East Coast. At FRA, we recently commemorated the 2-year anniversary of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Seeing the work that's being done here today is a perfect reminder of how the law is making a real difference in the lives of Americans across the country. 2 years in, the President's Investing in America agenda is tackling long-standing infrastructure needs, supporting communities nationwide, and making it possible to get people and goods where they need to be safely, quickly, and conveniently. The Gateway Project is a key part of this vision. We look forward to furthering our partnerships with all of you as we work together to deliver for the American people. Again, congratulations and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome U.S. Department of Transportation Deputy Secretary Polly Trottenberg.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here on behalf of the Biden administration, and I will say it, President Amtrak Joe and Secretary Buttigieg. I want to start by thanking Governor Murphy for hosting us here today, for his incredible leadership. We were just saying, I can't imagine a more amazing backdrop, watching literally every minute Amtrak, New Jersey Transit trains, freight trains. It just underscores what a tremendously important project this is. And I will say as a New Yorker, I am thrilled to be here on the Jersey side to celebrate the New Jersey groundbreaking on this side of the Hudson and this major step forward on the Gateway program. As mentioned earlier this month, my secretary joined a number of officials in New York to celebrate on that side, but thrilled to be here in New Jersey. Governor Murphy, congratulations. It demonstrates that, as we've said, after so many years, even decades of talking about the new rail tunnel under the Hudson, our collective vision is being realized. The work is really, truly underway. And it is underway because of the leaders here today. It is underway because of you, Governor Murphy. Your leadership has been steadfast, and I think it is true what has been said today, that if you hadn't kept the faith, we would not be here today. It is true because of your counterpart in New York, Governor Hochul, Senator Schumer, all the elected officials, some of whom are gathered here today. And of course, it's underway because of my president, President Biden, Secretary Buttigieg, and the whole team here. I can call you all out again, but I think you've all been called out. Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, partners in New York and New Jersey, our team at FRA, Amit, Jennifer, and the whole team who've done a tremendous amount of work, our labor partners here, obviously, Gateway Redevelopment Corporation. It has been an incredible team effort. And I am particularly excited, as everyone said, to honor the workers that are going to be building this incredible project and will be working for many, many years on all the work that's going to happen here. You've heard why this project is so critical. Over 70,000 jobs, $19 billion in economic activity, reducing emissions, making this region more resilient. We're celebrating, obviously, the groundbreaking on this project, but we're celebrating the larger vision. President Biden has called the Gateway Project one of the most consequential projects in the country, and I will say, this president personally cares about getting this project done. He has tasked the Department of Transportation with doing it, so I can promise you we are on it. We're obviously discussed the $3.8 billion we're putting into the project on the rail side, the nearly $7 billion that'll be coming in on the transit side, and with that kind of support, we know this project is going to succeed, right, Chris? And that's just a small piece of what I want to make sure we're talking about we're doing on the Jersey side of the Hudson. Yesterday, I joined a number of you to announce a port grant for the Port Authority at Port Newark. We're investing in transit in Maplewood, in roads and bridges. We're focusing on projects all over New Jersey. And of course, these investments are going to mean good-paying union jobs, and was discussed today. And obviously, we know a lot of those jobs will be right here in Hudson County. So on behalf of the Department of Transportation, the Biden administration, again, I want to thank you all for your partnership. Governor, I love that you said from Tonnelle Avenue to Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm going to add, some of you may not know, U.S. DOT is on New Jersey Avenue. So it's from Tonnelle Avenue to Pennsylvania Avenue to New Jersey Avenue. We will get this project done. And I'm looking forward to grabbing some shovels. So thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated while our speakers exit.